do I do? Well, I guess there's only one thing. There's something I'd like to know. Are you real? Can you feel?
And take 4. Hello, I'm Prairie Vintage. My name is Linda. I'm an energy intuitive reader here on YouTube. Oh my goodness. I don't know what's gone on with this intro, but it's happening how it's happening. Pick a card reading. What are we looking at? We're looking at 3 options. 1, 2, 3. That's the tarot we'll be using. I'll hold them up shortly so that you guys can pick your picks. And we'll be using these oracle cards. So for those of you guys interested in what these cards are all about, I will put a link to the deck flip through so that you can take a look at these decks in more detail for those of you guys who read cards. So what is this reading about? This reading is about looking at your current situation, how you're seeing it, your understanding, your beliefs about it. And then we're going to take a look at the objective truth, what's actually going on. Okay, so it could be triggering because we could be attached to our own perception, our own story, our own belief. And then Spirit could come through with an objective look that shatters our illusions. And that isn't always pleasant, okay? But it's intended to be liberating, and it's intended to help us to move beyond something, maybe move beyond ourselves, move beyond a limitation, a limiting belief, or a misconception that we have of something that's not necessarily accurate. Okay, so it's difficult to see beyond our own perceptions. And so this is intended to help heal, and healing isn't always fun or easy or well received. Okay, but I assure you on the other side of breaking the illusion, there is liberation and there is freedom and there is growth and movement in either having success in that situation or successfully detaching from situations that might not be in line with our own growth and movement. So wherever it leads us to, we want reality as it is with a capital R. We want truth as it is objectively. We don't want to live in illusions and perceptions and fantasies. So this is intended to dispel all of that. Okay. So like I say, trigger warning for those of you guys who, might not be prepared. Maybe you could come back here. You can go check out another video. If the pile doesn't sound like the first part of what your situation is or how you're seeing it, it most likely isn't your pile at all. So no need to sit through something that's not resonating with the first part. Okay. Because the first part will definitely be what you're seeing and understanding is. Okay. And also we might not resonate with any pile. Okay. That could be that your consciousness isn't yet in that sort of frame of mind of understanding. Or it could just be that I'm not tapped into that frequency at all. Maybe this isn't your reading. Maybe I'm not your reader, but either which way, if this reading doesn't resonate, you can go check out another one. And if those readings don't resonate, then like I said, maybe my energy frequency that I'm tapping into here isn't your collective, and that's fine. Okay. But I do hope that this reading does resonate for a lot of you guys. And don't force it to fit. It should be the overall energy in that pile that is sitting with your energy. Okay, specific messages do pull through, and I do bring those forward because sometimes they're needed for certain individuals to have confirmation. But if it doesn't resonate for you, those specific onesies, then it's okay. It's just the overall energy that should resonate with your situation, circumstance. Okay, now just a very quick disclaimer here. If it's your first time to tarot or first time to this channel, I'm not predicting an outcome. Okay, I'm not telling you and determining an outcome of anything. Okay, I'm reflecting back to your state of consciousness. So if you don't resonate with that which is being communicated to you, meaning it's surprising, shocking, it's creating all sorts of questions, it's most likely not your story. It's not intended for you as a reading that's predicting anything. Okay, I'm just holding up a mirror to you. And so with this reading, it might be a little easier because I will be tapping into your own perspective at the beginning. So if that resonates, it's most likely your reading. And we could say we don't resonate with the back end, and that would just be because we're still attached to our illusions. We're still attached to our beliefs, and that's fine. We could do whatever we like. But like I said, this is the whole purpose of this reading is to dispel us. of that in which we're attached to, or else we continue to suffer. Okay, so beautiful angels, let's get into the 3 options. I will move these out of our way. And option number 1 is the Wandering Star Tarot. Option number 2 is this Unmarked Tarot. I have no idea the name at all. And option number 3 is the Dante Tarot. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, there'll just be 3 piles today. Sit with this energy. If you are drawn to multiple piles, it's fine. Situations are multi-layered. There could be different aspects, okay, that could pull through. They could all be relevant to you. You could be tapping into passing, present, future states of your own energy. That's fine as well, okay, but do not force messages to fit. And if you are called to multiple, listen to your intuition. Come up with what you'll see, feel, or hear to determine whether the pile is making sense to you. Although, like I said, for this reading, it will most likely resonate with the front end because that will be coming from your perspective. Okay, so beautiful angels, sit with these 3 options. I will put the options, the timestamps in the description box and in the pinned comment below. It will take you directly to your pick, and I will see you at your pick. Hello, gorgeous angels. Pile number 1, you guys picked the Wandering Star Tarot. Can't wait to get into your reading. I do suggest you go listen to the intro, and we're looking at your current situation from your own perspective, how you're seeing it, how you're understanding it, and then we're going to take a look at the objective truth as to what's actually happening, okay? And if there's any sort of discrepancy that will help dispel anything for you so that you can come into reality and fall in love with reality as it truly is. So if you don't resonate with the first part, this isn't your reading, or at least your pile, sorry. You could go check out another pile, okay? But if you don't resonate with the beginning, then it most likely is not your message. So I didn't include this one in the deck at the beginning because it didn't pull through, and suddenly it pulled through as a deck that I'm needing to use. So I'm going to be using this deck as well, okay, to tap into the energy. So there's not a whole bunch here, but I do want to pull the cards here with you guys so that you guys can see there's nothing fancy about how I do this, okay? But we'll ask Spirit for a clear and concise message for beautiful pile number 1. Now, if you want to go straight away to the channeled message, you can. I will break it down there so that you guys can see the timestamp and you don't have to sit through this part. But we'll ask Spirit for how is pile 1 currently seeing or understanding their situation from their perspective. What is their understanding? How are they currently understanding their situation, circumstance from their point of view? No. Spirit, clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good. How is pile 1 currently understanding and seeing their situation, circumstance from their perspective? Clear and concise message. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 1. Thank you so much, pile 1, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here. Let's take a look. We have day moon with love. Oh my goodness, look at this big full moon. So moons do talk about emotions, and we have the emotion of love here. Although love is much more than just an emotion. Interesting. Let's keep going. So we have gifts to the portal 25, or the number 7. So 7 is all about faith, wisdom, reflection, understanding. We have moon in Mars, more moon energy. So moon is Pisces, Cancer. Mars is the ruling planet for Aries, Scorpio. Card number 13. So 13 is Scorpio energy, which is all about transformation and release. Defense mechanism 31, ego level with introjection, artistic sublimation, identification, inclusion, absorption, incorporation, and internalization. Type 4, the individualist, emotional center between lack and abundance. Number 4. So Mars is Aries, 4 is also Aries, divine masculine energy. number 31. And we have Merkaba 32. So we have succession here. 32 is the number 5. 5 is about conflict, loss, change, and rebuild. It says the frequency of Merkaba supports our ability to use our consciousness to traverse into other layers of reality and dimensions. It activates our access to Akashic inheritance as well, merging the totality of our experiences into the present to serve our highest purpose. Wowzers. And then we have ninth house with faith 33. So 33 is a master number. It's all about reproduction, creativity, humor, Christ consciousness, joy, and harmony. 33 is also 6. And 6 is about problem solving, compassion, harmony. 6 is lovers, which is about a choice. Also devil energy pulling through, which is unhealthy patterns potentially. Obsessions, passion, bindings. Okay. So we have Gemini and Capricorn energy pulling through. Ninth house, faith. So ninth house is all about wisdom, philosophy, higher education, religion, and relations, learning, ethics, getting Hierophant energy, Taurus energy. And we have 48, Jupiter, Neptune. So I'm getting, I don't know why I'm getting the 12th house here. Probably because of the Neptune here. It's coming through very strong. Okay, sorry, I'm getting pulled into that. So Jupiter, Neptune. Jupiter is the ruling planet for Sagittarius, Pisces. Okay. And Neptune is definitely Pisces energy. So 48 is coming through. Okay, so how are you seeing your current situation? I want to see this Moon Mars energy. First, give me a second. Who's this Moon Mars about 13? It is conjunct sextile trine primitive. You are an emotional line cutter who places your needs to be heard and seen ahead of the needs in others. Your modus operandi, me first. Adaptive, your emotional strength serves as an anchor for others. Evolving, your deep capacity for feeling propels you to outstanding acts on behalf of your community. In conjunct opposition square, there is no space between your feelings of the moment and your actions. As soon as your current feelings is acted out, you're on to another one, often leaving destruction in your wake. Adaptive gut instinct drives you to brave and heroic action. Evolving, you act as an ambassador of compassion, providing emotional safety for all. Okay. Okay, beautiful angel. I love you very much. There is no right or wrong. There is just what we believe and then the truth. Okay? And the truth is what the divine knows. And everybody's going to have a perception. Okay? And this isn't Linda giving any perception at all. I'm going to remove Linda from all these readings like I normally do. Right now, I'm going to read your perception. Okay? But I have a feeling I know what the reality is coming through because this perception here is not really in line with a reality. Okay? No matter how much we're tied to it or we can't see beyond it. I feel like you can't see beyond how it is that you're feeling. You and your feelings are so close together that you're not creating any space. Okay? So, although I'm not reading the reality part yet, how you'll know that this is your pile is this is in regards to you being really attached to the idea that your feeling of love, it's expressed here as love, so your well-meaningness toward another is really driven from a good place of intention. This is your belief. And so you're really acting from that place. It's really a reaction. Okay? You're feeling something and then you're telling yourself it's true because you feel it. And although feelings are definitely true, okay, I'm not saying if your feelings aren't being felt. Definitely. Feelings are true. True, capital T. All feelings are valid. But when we have unhealed things, even if they're not necessarily bad experiences, but unhealed things, meaning things that we've experienced. Let me reword it. If we've experienced something and we created a story to it, whether it be good or bad, we now have a experience that we believe to be the truth, and then we react accordingly when the next opportunity presents itself from that space. Meaning we're engaged with people based on our past experience. We love based on our past understanding of what love means. And so these feelings that you're feeling, you believe them to be very true in that moment. And Spirit is showing that although you're feeling these feelings, they have nothing to do with the present moment of what you're experiencing and all to do with the past. Okay, so if you want reality, which is coming through right now, and we'll still peel this back, reality is this present moment. And in order to see reality in the present moment, we have to remove everything that is not in this present moment, period. All of that stuff has to be removed to see clearly. And when we see through the eyes of the past and make judgments and opinions, whether they be good or bad, or have any intention of how it's going to go or should be, we're not seeing reality as it is. And so Spirit is really saying that you are seeing your situation from the eyes that your experience of feeling is true and that for that situation. And it's not. That situation is actually requires you to feel it from an authentic place. And so although you're feeling this feeling of love, because I do feel it is an intense feeling of love and emotion, although you're feeling it very strongly, and you could say, no, I'm authentically feeling it. I'm not being fake about it. I do feel it. It's like, yeah, you do feel it, but your feelings are actually stemmed from your subconscious of a past experience that you're connecting to this present moment, thinking this present moment is what's generating these feelings. But this present moment isn't generating those specific feelings in you. So you're being asked to dispel those feelings that you're currently feeling. And it's not saying suppress it or ignore it. How we dispel is to say these feelings are stemmed from a judgment or a belief or an experience of the past that I'm interjecting in this present moment with the veil that I'm wearing right now. And I do feel like there's an energy here of an expectation. It's like an expectation of, if I do the right thing is kind of going to happen. And I know we get told this, but reality actually is the unknown. Nobody knows what's going to happen. That's the truth of the reality. Because when we come in saying, if I do the right thing, if I behave the right way, or if I'm, like giving love. Now, this doesn't mean don't be compassionate. Of course, we need to be compassionate. But we can't experience the situation saying, if I'm loving, I'm going to get love back in this situation. No. We could definitely give love in many situations and it not give love to us back in the way that we're thinking it's coming back, because this is still the thought. We think it needs to come in this way. We expect it to come in that way. What Spirit is saying is that we need to be in the present moment, connect to love in the present moment, be compassionate in the present moment, but it has nothing to do with the past, and it has nothing to do with, if I do this, then this outcome is going to happen. Because right now, there is a story that you have here that's showing that you think something is bound to happen or unfold in a certain way. And Spirit is saying, it's not saying it's not going to unfold or it is going to unfold. It's like you're hanging on to an unfolding, and it's keeping you busy. And what it's keeping you busy from is actually getting closer to how you're feeling in this moment, because how you're feeling in this moment of the situation is actually a reaction. It's very responsive to this weighted experience of the past. It's not creating space in this present moment to be objective, to look at what you're experiencing, and then to come up with an emotion that this present moment would give to you. Because this present moment might give to you a completely different sort of feeling. Because every present moment contains a slew of different feelings that might come through. Okay, but even closer to that yet, it's like those feelings that come through in this present moment for you are still generating a thought that comes in that present moment, and then that feeling is driven by that thought in the present moment. But the thought is what we actually need to observe, because the thought you have in that present moment is what is actually needing to be debunked. To be in the present moment with no thought at all and feeling what feels in that moment, that is true authenticity. So this is all tied back to thoughts. I have a thought in this current situation, no matter how well-meaning it is, no matter how much aligned it is actually with love, and that's cool. It could align with love. I love that. But it doesn't matter how much aligned to love it is. Oh, I'm so loving. I'm giving of myself. I'm being very vulnerable. This is all authentic. It's like it doesn't matter how much of that you do, how self-sacrificing you are, how self-serving you are. Like, yes, it's great to be in that energy, but being in that energy is not going to promise you any sort of outcome. It's not going to reveal or mirror back to you anything. The only thing that is showing up is the present moment, but you're too clouded to see it. You're not engaged in the present moment. You're engaging in the present moment with a whole veil of thoughts. And the thoughts are really stemmed from your past experiences of understanding. And then you're reacting with those emotions, but those aren't pure and authentic to this present moment. Okay, I know that's a lot, but I really feel like you're really identified with our feelings. We're really identified with because I feel this way right now, it's authentic. And I believe that you feel those feelings. It is truly how you feel, but it has nothing to do with the present moment. You're not feeling that way about that person or that situation. No. You're connecting to that person or that situation from a place of your veil. And your veil is pulling up at these emotions. So are you really in love with this person or the situation? I would say no. You're absorbed in your own world of fantasy. And so Spirit is really talking about a lesson here. And so you might be on this with this Akashic record and this faith, wisdom, which is giving me really a learning sort of thing that's written in the stars for you to experience. What are we experiencing? Maybe we're really having to experience what it means to truly be in love with the present moment, how to truly give of love without having any sort of expectation of how it's supposed to be mirrored back to me or giving back to me. So if we are too certain about how we feel in this present moment, and then we're looking externally at this person or the situation, we're outwardly putting energy, that is already 10 steps ahead. Spirit is saying, bring it back to the point of your feeling. That's what you need to examine, because that's where the lie is. Okay, now this, again, doesn't mean that you don't love this person. It means you haven't even given this situation a real review, because you're not in the present moment. You're coming into this present moment, situation, circumstance, relationship with a preconceived feeling that stemmed from some belief system, some mechanism here that interjects here. No matter how valiant, no matter how loving it is, no matter how authentic it feels, we just checked off that box, assumed it was real, and then engaged in this situation. So we think this situation is really reflecting back to us a certain state that it's not. We're disconnected from what's actually being shown to us. And we're identifying so closely to our emotions like it is the truth. Like that's the only thing we know to be right. And it's like, no, actually. Because I feel like you would say, well, the only thing that is really authentic is at least the way I feel, or it's truthful. It's like, not really. Because again, the present moment would require an authentic present reaction of emotion that is unbiased, that is untainted, that doesn't come with other stories and perceptions and any of that. Okay, like the emotion that is coming through here is us seeing this current situation and then tying it back to a past attachment that we have to what we think love would be, or what we were conditioned to believe it to look like, or what it would do. There's a story here in regards to that we already just assume as the foundation. So the foundation here is already faulty. And I feel like you believe that foundation to be the only thing that is solid. Like my love is the solid thing here. Everything else I don't know. Or my emotion is the solid thing here, how I feel in the moment, like when I'm, that's solid, but everything else here is the thing I need to understand, or that I don't quite see. It's like, no, even your emotion is actually not true here. And it's coming faulty. It's not stable. No matter how strong you feel in it, whatever, it's not stable because it doesn't belong with this present moment. It wasn't generated by this present moment, coming completely unbiased with like childlike eyes, not seeing anything, not wanting to see anything, just seeing reality as it is, as it's unfolding, and then falling in love with reality. Then that love was generated authentically from this situation. It wasn't instilled in this, like, oh, this person reminds me of this and reminds me of that, or it pulls at this and it pulls at that within me. It's like, that has nothing to do with this person or the situation. That has everything to do with your attachment to certain things that make you feel in certain ways. But that's not falling in love with love. That's you sort of being self-absorbed with how things make you feel, because again, being in love isn't about how it makes me feel and what it could give to me and what boxes it checks off for me and how it's close to me. It's all about how can I be available, open and receptive, accepting reality as it is. That is true love, making space for reality as it is, accepting people as they are without wanting any sort of change or forcing my way, my will, without a judgment of this good, this bad, this feel good, this feel bad. Like, no, we're just here experiencing this moment. That is when you're in the present and in reality. Okay, so let's take a look then. What is your reality here? Because, some of it was coming through here as you interjecting your situation with charged emotions that are real to you. And the only thing that's not good about that would be because it has nothing to do with the present moment itself. And so why it's not good, he could do whatever he wants, is because that's a selfish way to sort of engage, because we're living in fantasy and we're not really at service to someone else. So how could we expect love to come to us when we're blocked from giving love to another? Giving love to another would be to be fully present. Giving love to another would be acceptance and feeling emotions of that present moment. Wouldn't be coming in with my own illusions and not seeing that other person. If we can't see that other person, do we truly love that other person? If we can't accept that person, do we truly accept them? Or are we just sort of in love with the fantasy of our feeling of love? I know that's very harsh, but that's how it comes out. So let's take a look then at the reality. Spirit, for pile number 1, what is then the reality of their situation, their circumstance? What is the reality here for pile number 1? So best way is to stop and really look at the feeling itself, not assume anything, not assume our feeling is about the present moment, not assume anything about the present moment, know that we know nothing about the present moment, and everything unfolds as it does without trying to resist it, change it, control it, and accept it as it is. You know? Again, not meaning if somebody's being abusive that we accept them to abuse us. That means I accept the situation without trying to change and force, because then I create suffering. So, Spirit, what is the reality of pile number one's situation, circumstance? What is this reality? What's the objective truth? What is the objective truth? What is really going on in this situation? Feels like the same card. No. Okay, Moon and Uranus, but a lot of Moon energy. Disrupting emotions. 17 star, Aquarius energy, Pisces, Cancer, Aquarius. Okay, so, and we have heart chakra, all about love. The frequency of heart chakra, the green flower of life, supports our capacity to love deeply and unconditionally. Its healing properties harmonize the mind and the body. 37, fire element with desire, or the number 10. 10 is about transformation, completion, ends of cycle. It's also Wheel of Fortune. And it's also the sun. And I'm feeling a lot of sun energy from this. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, but heavy Leo I'm feeling. And sun is all about consciousness, conscious love, visions, 67, or the number 13, Scorpio energy coming through. And we see her eyes shooting out stars and rainbows. So rainbows to me is giving me Pisces. It's about change of perspective. And we see Aquarius with the stars. Okay, and we have self-forgetfulness, 45. Self-cancellation, compromise, adaptation, concession, self-neglect, forget your needs. Number 9, type 9, the peacemaker, instinctive center between forgetting and asserting one's self. And we have self-regulation, exalted moon. Self-regulation, there's more rainbows. Rainbows give me hangman, gives me Pisces, hangman, change of perspective. So beautiful angels is everything that I said. And you saw me shuffle. Okay, this is the advantage of the shuffly doodah, so you know I'm not making shit up here. Self-regulation, what are we regulating? Emotions. Okay, now this doesn't mean I'm going to, I feel love, so I'm going to temper it some more because it's out of control. No. This means I'm going to go examine my emotions and see where they're coming from. Because I need a change of perspective here, because the way that I'm thinking that I'm engaged with my emotions is actually the root of what's not real. There's a fantasy that I'm perpetuating here, and it's my emotions that keep outputting and outputting and outputting, like they're real to this present moment. Meanwhile, they're distracting me. There's a real present moment here that's happening in front of you. It could be something that you could fall in love with. Absolutely. Absolutely, and I think you would. But it's consciously. So this is what this experience is showing you. This person, this situation. What it's absolutely trying to show you is how to love from an unconditional heart space, not how to love from a place of, you know, this person made me feel like that because it reminded me when I was little, or it made me feel this way because this is what I connected it to. Like, we're always connecting it to something that we needed to feel, or that we felt in the past, or that was familiar within us. And it's like a selfish self-desire. It's not about the present moment and the person in front of you. This would require you to put yourself completely away, you know, selfless. Forget your own needs. You're not a part of that's in which it is you're trying to give love to. I mean, sure, you could feel one with it, because that's when you do feel one with it. When you truly connect to an unconditional love and you're giving from this open heart space, it's like you're accepting your lover from a conscious place. It's like your perception of how you see them completely shifts when you're in the present moment to absorb them fully. But when you're not all fully present, you're distracted in thought and your own emotion. You're getting in the own way. You're not seeing your partner. And so this is all about shifting how you engage with love. This is all about shifting your own emotions in a way here that it doesn't let them just sort of run the show. But you got to get in front of it and question it, and it's very difficult to explain this, because it's not that I'm questioning that you have those feelings coming up. And you might think, no, those feelings are there and there's nothing to question. It's like, yeah, I get those feelings are there for sure, but what is generating those feelings? It's not the present moment. It's not this person that's generating that. You're experiencing this person in a fantasy. Because in order for you to really see and experience this person, you'd have to see them from no filter. You'd have to absorb and accept them and see them as they are. And the only way to do that is to not be distorted with anything. You need a clear lens, meaning you have to come in like completely not seeing something at all. And you're already coming in seeing something. You're seeing something that you wish it to be, that you want it to be, that you connect it somehow. It's like you have a vision. Okay, but before you can sort of experience this person fully in reality, you have to put that vision aside. If you want to continue with that vision afterwards, sure. But as long as you're conscious, but right now you're unconscious, because your subconscious is that in which is projecting this vision onto who this person is and what you want them to be. And you're like painting them in that. Okay, so your reality is experienced by your perception, just like everyone else's. But if you're really in a fantasy land, then your perception could be that's attached to the fantasy, and you're missing reality and this person as it's meant to be experienced. And for this pile specifically, you're experiencing it. I do feel for you to know the difference, for you to become conscious, and spirit's really coming through with that. It's like, this is what this lesson is trying to show you. Conscious, see your own emotions. Do not get lost in the sauce of your own desires of what you want it to be and what you've experienced and what you're projecting to the situation of who this person is or what they're not and why it is that they are and what. Those are all thought stories. The minute your mind has a thought, you already know you're in fantasy. This present moment has nothing to do with thoughts. Experiencing this person right here, right now has nothing to do with thoughts, wishes, desires, fantasies, beliefs, stories of the past, experiences. No, none of that. So if you feel you're drifting into fantasy land or what it could be or what it means, you're in thought. So you have to shift your perspective in that moment and be very aware, be very conscious of this person. And then you will see, because now you're making yourself more available to this present person and situation for you to give more love or make a real conscious choice to love. This is a present conscious lover, not one who is loving from ego and condition. So Moon and Uranus, let's take a look. 17. Conjunct sextile trine. Unhealed attachment wounds make you emotionally abrasive and rebellious. Adaptive, you personify emotional freedom and self-expression. Evolving, you teach others how to be unafraid of powerful emotions and to embrace change. In conjunct opposition square, your emotions trigger erratic and disruptive behavior. Adaptive, your emotions drive innovative creation. Evolving, your true originality inspires others to let their feelings be what they really are and be expressed and acted out with integrity, or feelings that are unique, unusual, or otherwise non-conforming. So what does this mean? I'm glad that I read this, because even deeper than that, why you're suffering, let's just say we lived in fantasy and we saw this person and they checked every box. We would have been happily ever after living in a fantasy. They would have fulfilled it, even though there's another reality going on. And it would have lined up and we would have continued to see what we see without disruption. But we're still in fantasy, right? So we want to see reality. The only reason why this is painful and suffering is because I think this situation and this circumstance is not aligning to that in which you want to see. And it's creating all sorts of suffering here. So there's this person isn't necessarily feeling the same way, or this person isn't necessarily making me feel comfortable. And I have erratic behavior when it comes to my emotions. I start feeling very abandoned, upset, depressed, lonely, left out. It's unfair. It's imbalanced. They don't care. They're not emotionally invested. It's like we start to see these things in this person. Meanwhile, this person is none of those things. We feel this way. That has nothing to do with this person. If we feel like they're not showing up, they're not invested, they're making me feel hurt, no one's making you do anything. There is no one out there making you do these things. You are feeling this way. And why you're feeling this way is because you're already coming in with a list of things in which you think it needs to be and has to be and has been showing to you. And so as long as you have this, you're going to experience disappointment, because Spirit is putting this person in the disappointment realm of triggering you emotionally. Because I feel like you could get very triggered here and snap when things aren't aligned to how you think it needs to be. Because again, the thinking is the problem. There is no thought when it comes to love. There just is love itself. And the minute we interject thought and a need to control it and how it goes, and a resistance to what we don't want, we create the suffering. We create illusion because we're going against reality. Reality is reality is reality. It's going to unfold in front of us. We can either engage, being completely present to what is and center, or we could try to control it and manipulate it, and then it doesn't go, and then gets disappointed, or control and manipulate it, and then it does go, and we think it was us, but it really was just reality, and live in the illusion that we were controlling it. Meanwhile, we didn't. Or we could resist, and then it keeps creating suffering because we're resisting something rather than just letting reality be and unfold. So reality is unfolding. This person is unfolding. They're acting however they're acting. I don't know how they're acting, but I have a feeling they're creating all sorts of suffering with you because they're either hot or cold, or there's emotional outbursts you're experiencing. And it's like they can control me. They control my emotions. They're controlling this desire here in some way. And it's like, no, they're not controlling anything. They're just reality in the present moment. And then there is you feeling out of control because you're coming in with your fixation of projection. And you'll know you're in projection the minute you start having thoughts. Okay, now the thought, when you're conscious, could come and you could see it for what it is. And you could set that thought aside. And it doesn't pull at your emotions, because being thoughtless doesn't mean, or being conscious, doesn't mean all of a sudden you don't have thoughts. Thoughts are always going to be coming, sometimes more than others. But when we're so close to the thought, we don't even question it and we just react. Spirit is saying, acknowledge your thoughts, see them when they come as thoughts. See them, shake hands with them, know that they're thought. Don't let your emotion pull with that thought. That thought is just a thought. That's the illusion. That's not anything to do with this present moment. The present moment doesn't know what sort of thought you're going to generate within you. The present moment just is reality. And the thought is that in which is the illusion. And so when we engage in this present moment with the illusion, we create catastrophe. Okay? Because we're not enjoying reality and going with the flow of reality and falling in love with reality, and then we create suffering. So we need to get beyond ourselves here, okay? To see this present moment. Now, you could do whatever you want, but I'm sure you don't want to fall in love with a version of your own thoughts. You want to fall in love with reality as it is. You want to love this person as they are, and this is what you're being called to do. I do feel there's something sort of karmically unfolding here in regards to this unconditional love lesson, that until you experience this, you're going to continue to experience suffering and be at the mercy of this situation or this person or this thing that never seems to be going away. Okay, so if you feel triggered, it's not saying suppress it and don't get triggered and say, I was balanced, I responded balanced. It's not about holding back and regulating balance in that way. The self-regulation comes with totally dispelling that emotion in the first place and looking at it and knowing that it has no place here. It wasn't even a part of this thing. It wasn't subduing it. It's not about subduing it, subduing the illusion, the fantasy a little less than. It's about dispelling the illusion, seeing why you feel the way you feel, and you'll see it has nothing to do with this present moment or this person. That's what needs to be regulated. It needs to be looked at. Every moment we feel any sort of emotion, we have to look at it and say, is it about this present moment, or is this about some sort of story, some sort of thought that just came up in my mind about what I see happening here? Meanwhile, it's not really what's happening here. We think it's happening here. We think it's about the present moment, but it's just the veil of how we're seeing it. And it's just the past being regurgitated. It's the fantasy being regurgitated. It's the desire of what we wanted to see being regurgitated. And then, like I said, when it shifts a little bit, we get triggered or we feel certain ways. So we don't want to feel certain ways. We don't want to be in the throes of someone else having control over our emotions. And that would be also a lie, because nobody has control over it. But when we feel at the mercy of our circumstance, it's because we're not getting in front of our emotions, seeing it from the point of view that it was our own thought that generated that emotion, not that circumstance. So I don't know how else to explain it, but that's how it's coming through pile number 1. I hope this helped you. Let's take a look at what the tarot wants to deliver, because I do feel like we might need to close this out with some tarot. Spirit for pile 1. What do they need to know? 9 Wands. Defensive energy. That's the Wounded Warrior. 6 Swords in reverse. So both of these energies could be fairly stuck. And the Emperor. Emperor is opposites type energy. And the 4 of Cups. So, and what's under 4 Cups? 5 of Pentacles. We're left out. We feel rejected. Okay, somebody else has the power, someone else, most likely some person who's in control of me and my emotions. This Divine Masculine over here is calling all the shots. I'm stuck here, feeling rejected, feeling left out in the cold, feeling defensive, wanting to move on, but feeling stuck. Okay, now I already explained why we feel stuck. It's nothing to do with what he's doing, not doing. We have to see the situation for what it actually is. And so I feel like you feel very stuck. And you're only stuck because you're not seeing this person for how they are. You're not accepting reality for how it is. You're still stuck on what you want it to be and what you want it to turn out, or how you think it should go and how you're attached to that. And so you feel more stuck. The minute you accept reality and see this person as they are, the more freedom you have, the more things flow. But when you're fighting reality, guess what wins? Reality wins every single time. And we feel let out, we feel disappointed, we feel rejected. And there is no rejection. No one's rejecting you. You yourself are engaged in emotions that you're stirring up from thoughts that have nothing to do with this present moment. All right, so this was a confusing one. Not everybody understood what was being said, and that's absolutely fine. Not your reading. And it will help those who understand exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so beautiful pile 1. That was your reading. I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye. Hello, gorgeous angels. Pile number 2. You guys picked the unmarked tarot. Oh, geez, I'm getting a phone call. Give me 1 sec. All right, sorry about that. Perfect timing. I wasn't in the middle of channeling. So we're looking at your current situation, how you're seeing it, how you're perceiving your situation. And then we're going to take a look at the reality of your situation, okay? And where there might be misconception or a way that you're engaged that might not necessarily be accurate. Okay, so let's take a look. Spirit, pile number 2 is wanting more about their current grasp in regards to their perception, their reality of what's going on in their world. How are they seeing their current situation? How do they understand their current situation to be? I am using this deck, by the way, which I didn't mention at the beginning because it kind of came through as an afterthought. That's this deck right here. Those of you guys interested. And yeah, we're looking at, sorry, this feels weird. Spirit, for pile number 2, what is their perception of what's going on right now in their world? their perception of their reality. Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 2. How are they currently seeing their situation, their circumstance from their own understanding? And then we will take a look at the objective truth of what it is you're going through. All right, I do feel another one. Pile number 2, Spirit. Yeah, this one is still wanting to come through. And one of these. Look at your cards just wanting to flop right out. How is pile number 2 currently perceiving their situation, circumstance? Okay, let's take a look. We have truth, moon rising. Wow, okay. And we have the weight of truth. My goodness, 75. Or the number 12. 12 is hangman, Pisces energy. Her eyes are not there. A weight of truth and truth. Interesting. We have Uranus and Pluto, 61, or the number 7. So Pluto's a ruling planet for Scorpio, and Uranus is the ruling planet for Aquarius. Okay, and then we have Venus, 29, or the number 11. Venus. Venus is the planet of love, Taurus, Libra. Okay, and then we have the whole 32, or the number 5. Look at her, same sort of energy, facing backwards, crying. Her eyes are closed. She has no eyes here. Okay, and then we have delight, 19. The frequency of delight supports our capacity to create and experience feelings of intense joy and happiness. The more delight we feel, the more delight we evoke in others. It's beautiful. That is Sun energy, 19. Leo energy, divine masculine energy. And we have first house with the body, 25, or the number 7. So the first house is all about self, appearances, beginnings, first impressions, attitude, our identity. Our identity. Wow. Okay, so 7 is all about faith, wisdom, reflection, and understanding. And we have denial. 35. Or the number 8, defense mechanism, ego level. Denial, reality denial, disapproval, refute, negotiation, avoidance, refusal of weakness. Number 8. Type 8, the challenger, instinctive center between strength and weakness. So 8 is more Leo energy. Denial. Truth. Okay, this is punching through with a very intense energy, but I don't know what it's saying. Let's see, 61 with Uranus, Pluto. Wow, I opened Venus right away, so you might as well. Conjunct sextile trine. You are overly preoccupied with your own self-image. You might want to back off from the selfies. Adaptive. You embody compelling charm and substance. Your charisma is magnified. Evolving. You are an avatar of gracious relating. Others bask in your beauty and diplomacy. Primitive. You are obsessed with your appearance, fearing that you are not attractive enough. Adaptive. You work with your values and with clarity and maturity. Evolving. You are a living model of congruence. You live out harmony, social harmony, and elegantly rock your own personal style. Okay, 61. 61. Uranus, Pluto. Primitive, you are a personal wrecking ball. Adaptive, you show what true moral courage is on a daily basis. Evolving, you are the one who lays down your self-interests and risks your life to uplift the masses. Okay, in conjunct opposition square, you spike the punch with revenge. Adaptive, you undo corruption and demonstrate entirely new ways to solve old problems. Evolving, you are a powerhouse of community love who shows people how to awaken their hearts amidst suffering. Okay, let me sit with this energy because I'm not quite sure all the pieces are put together, but I will see, okay? Okay, beautiful. Pile number 2. This will become more clear to me as to the reality in the back end, which is interesting because some of the reality for pile 1 was coming through at the beginning. This is more telling me your current state which obviously doesn't feel, never mind. Let me just get into it, okay? Beautiful pile 1 or 2. We have Venus, we have appearance, the body, which is physical, and we have the sun energy, which is all about ego. Okay? We have denial, and we have a truth here. We see ourselves from a view, whatever that view is. For all of you guys, it's different. And it is our own attachment to that version of us that we've created. That is an illusion, because we are not who we think we are. We are not whatever that attachment story is, because for some of you guys, you might be really attached to, I'm always the attractive one. I am always the fat one. I am always the one that's chosen. I am the one that's successful. I am the smart one. I am known for my looks. I am always seen in this way. And when this past has proven this time and time and time and time again, we believe it, but it doesn't necessarily make it true. And I feel like there's a great truth here, and it's in regards to who you're not. You're not any of those things that you think that you are. And so it's creating suffering for you. We're going to see in the back end. But you really, really think that you are something here. And I think for a lot of you guys, it's not a low self-esteem. I feel like there's a confidence of a way that you see yourself that might be helping you egoically put up a stronger version. It helps my confidence. It helps me drive. It helps me have a healthy drive, but it's not healthy. It's ego, and it's ego leaning towards a direction that's creating suffering. Because when we identify with that story, it doesn't matter how positive it might be. The point being, we're identifying with an illusion. So when that illusion gets disproved, because it will, because reality is far from illusion, reality is the truth. When reality slaps us, our house of cards comes falling down, because the reality is we're none of those things. We're not the supermodel. We're not the intellectual scientist. We're none of those things. We might have experienced those things, but I feel like something in the past here, or someone of who we were, or what we've experienced in the past, is really integrated into who we think we are in the present. And we need to disentangle ourselves. It has a hold of us. And it's not saying that we're living in the past. We might still be engaged in the present. We might be even focused on the future. But we brought a part of that identity with us, those beliefs of who we think we are. And now we're engaging in this present moment from the face of who we think we are. But really, we need to leave the past version of who we experienced being in the past and experience this present moment as a whole new version of us. Whether it be the one who is vulnerable, whether it be the one who isn't the most beautiful one in the room, whether it be the one who isn't the most creative, whether it be the one who normally is the skinny one and now I'm the fat one. It doesn't matter so much. It's the reality of the situation is going to call what you actually are to experience in that moment. That can't be reproduced. And I feel like our suffering is really created by us bringing in that identity, because our past experience has really ingrained us in believing that it really is who we are. We really are that savvy, beautiful, confident, whatever thing is. And so we are approaching our current situation in a way that the current situation actually doesn't require us to react and respond from that angle. And I think this is why it's creating suffering. We're going to see again the back end. But I think what I'm really feeling here intuitively, you would really want to respond to your current sort of set of circumstances in an honest way, because you're going to get the most juice out of it. You're going to milk it for something real, and it's going to be more engaging and more fulfilling and more thrilling and more experience. But when we come into this present moment with a limited, because it is very limited, I am this way, and now I'm going to come into this situation in this limited way, I now limit what I experience. And you're not limited, meaning you're not just confident. You're confident, you're also not confident. You're vulnerable, you're also not vulnerable. You're weak, you're also strong. You're beautiful, you're also ugly. You're this, you're also that. And you're none of those things at the same time. Because what is beautiful, what is ugly? What is weak, what is strong? Like, it's all relative. Like, there is no this or that. That's all concepts. That's all judgments. That's all opinions. That's all constructs of society. That's all beliefs that I've held as truthful and not truthful, and me and not me, and compartmentalized all of those belief stories and hung on to what I thought was me and discarded what I am saying is not me. And no, those are identities and those are stories. And not only that, but now when we hang on to it, we're not experiencing the true present moment. We're actually in denial of what we're experiencing. Okay, but I think we're also in denial of the truth that we're none of those things. And so to break ourselves from those identities could be very catastrophic, because if I'm not the businesswoman, if I'm not the most beautiful woman in the room, if I'm not, the richest person or whatever, okay, I don't know what your thing is. Don't just take the ones I'm mentioning. Whatever the thing is, because there's a thing here that you believe. And I do feel it is a thing that is in regards to how you appear to others. And I also feel like the illusion here, or the denial, is that because you really feel it from the inside, that other people are seeing you in that way. And you're really thinking that that's real. And so you have no idea how other people see you. It doesn't matter what belief you hold. You could see yourself as really bad or really good. It's irrelevant. The situation that you're experiencing is seeing you from one perspective, period. You don't know what it is. You can never know what it is. But what you can do is experience the reality of the truth of that situation by being receptive and seeing how it's actually engaged with you, rather than through the veil of assuming that situation, those people, this person is exactly seeing you in the way that you think that you are. They're seeing me like this. They're seeing me and understanding me to be this, this, and this, because this is how I'm projecting it, and this is how I'm seeing it, and this is no. That's just you. How you think you're being seen, how you think they're supposed to see you or are seeing you, or how you see yourself. And even how you see yourself is all subjective. That's the big fat lie here. There's a great truth here, and the truth of the matter is the present moment has no version of you that's ever existed. And that this person, situation, circumstance, or people will see you however their internal world projects onto you, period. That doesn't require you to do, be, or say anything different. That just requires you to be open and receptive in the present moment to see reality unfold. See this person project onto you. Because these people in this situation will be projecting most of the time, unless they're conscious themselves. And so if you are dealing with a conscious situation, and we're unconscious because we're more wrapped up in the identity of who we think we are, then we're missing out on the conscious lover or the conscious situation or the reality of a situation. We're in denial. We're still wrapped up in who we think we are being perceived as, and who and what we were in the past, and identified as that, thinking it has any weight in this situation, and it actually is weightless. It's bogging your mind, and it's preoccupying your space, and it's not allowing you to experience the present moment. So let's see reality as it is. Though a lot of reality was coming through here as the thing, but let's see, what is reality then as it is? Spirit, Can we please get the reality of a current situation for pile number 2? What is the reality of pile number 2 situation? What is the reality? What is really going on here in pile 2's situation, circumstance that they're not understanding or seeing yet or conscious of? And what is the reality for pile number 2 in this situation that we're... No, I don't feel that one's right. Clear and concise message. Projection. What did I say? I don't know. I'm still shuffling this. This is why I like to shuffle the cards. People know that I'm not just coming up with random. So definitely what is pulling through there at the beginning is all a projection, you know. People will project regardless of whether you're good, bad, beautiful, or ugly. Again, relative. So what does it matter having any sort of attachment to those things when people are going to project anyway? You know, when people project anyway, why are we doing busy work? Trying to get more thin, or trying to be more approved, or trying to be more confident, or trying to be more loved, or trying to be this, or trying to be that. No. Someone's projecting. And we're projecting. So what is the reality of the situation then, Spirit? What does pile number 2 need to know about the reality of their situation? Okay, I have a feeling I lost a million people here, but it is what it is. Reach for the moon. Go for it. Projection. Expulsion from yourself. External reapproach. Shifting. Victimization. Externalization. External attribution. 33 or number 6. 33 is a master number. Reproduction. Creativity. Humor. Christ consciousness. Joy and harmony. External attribution. Type 6, the loyalist thinking center between mistrust and trust. Okay. I have a feeling I know what's going on here. Sun in Jupiter. Number 5. Wow. Big energy. And we have integration, number 30. The frequency of integration supports our embrace of every aspect of ourselves, allowing what we perceive as positive and what we perceive as negative to harmonize in a balanced symphony of life. What did I say? This, that, good, bad, none of it exists. Integration of what is in a balanced way. Perceived as positive and perceived as negative. It's all a perception. It's all a projection. Your light, 51 or the number 6. Ace of Wands energy. Go for it. Afraid of the attic, 58. Yod, destiny, 48. It's a difference of 10. 10 is about transformation. 10 is also Wheel of Fortune. We have destiny here. We have the element of earth, stability, 38. Wow, look at that. 38, 48, 58. Amazing. And 39, air element, communication. Communicating. So we have Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, and Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Okay. Okay, so we got another layer here. Everything I said, but I do feel I beat you up a little bit. I'm sorry. Okay, but it's still infuriating here because all of those stories that we told ourselves of who we think we are is actually irrelevant. It really is to your situation. Your situation isn't seeing you however you think it's seeing you, or how you're wanting to be perceived or not perceived and all that. That's all like mind story. Okay, I think your situation has big potential here. Really, really big potential. But you're too clouded discerning the how to be's and how you are. That has nothing to do with this. That I think it's holding you back. There's a lot of fear here. And this fear is of being seen as something maybe we don't want to be seen as, or maybe us seeing ourselves in that way, or us engaging. And, you know, and there is something that wants to come out of you and experience this thing raw, without you categorizing what you got to be and how you got to be and how you have to show up and how you're not. So I feel like there's a real truthfulness in regards to engaging and showing up and speaking our authenticity and being grounded and rooted in the present moment of reality. This is what's going to create stability in whatever situation or circumstance here, because I do feel like there is a circumstance here in which you're being called to experience that you're avoiding, or that you're not submersing yourself in because you're too distracted on perceptions, like the superficialness of how you would look, or how you would accomplish something, or how you would be perceived, and how it would be welcomed, and how it would go, and it needs to, and how your situation is sort of potentially judging you, or whether it's good or bad. And there is none of that. None of that even exists. All of that is just a bunch of fluff and noise and deterring you, and stalling, and a world of spinning tires. And so Spirit is really saying to immerse yourself in the present moment. Whatever version of you comes out in the present moment is the version that's supposed to come out. Because I do feel like we're really attached to the story version of who we are supposed to be in this situation and who we are. And we're trying to find a middle ground. And you don't need to find a middle ground. You don't need to figure it out mentally. You don't need to come up with answers in that way before you can engage. There is just engaging. There's just facing this situation. And so I do feel like there's more to this thing. And the more to this thing is we might be too afraid to be seen for who we are, because we're not accepting ourselves as the version of the authentic light that comes out. Because whatever is going to come out here, we have no idea. Because this present moment's never been experienced by us, meaning when we're pure and authentic, any version of us could come out. The one we think is good, or the one we think is bad. The one we think is ugly, the one we think is beautiful. It doesn't matter. Because your light is going to be the purest version of you that engages in this experience that you're being called to experience in the rawness, whatever this is. It's not saying experience this experience, but only when, you reach this level of weight, or this level of beauty, or this level of success, or this level of understanding, or this level of output. No, it's saying just go for it and engage in it. You're already ready. There is no not being ready. There is no other you that needs to show up here. The you that needs to show up here is the you that you already are. Void of your projections, void of your misconceptions, void of your judgments, void of your opinions of what's good and wrong, void of all that. Show up in this present moment as you, so that you can engage pure and authentic, and show up and be very open, create space here to engage and really absorb and pick up what's going on here. Because if we're too preoccupied with shoulda, woulda, couldas and how it should be and what I need to do, then we're not really present, or we're just projecting things that are keeping us further from the experience. So let's take a look, spirits, of this situation as it truly is for pile number 2. What does pile 2 then need to know about the reality of their situation? What am I missing exactly? Because I feel I'm missing something. What is the reality of pile 2's circumstance? What is the truth, the objective truth of the situation or circumstance pile 2 needs to know? 4 swords, Queen of Pentacles, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. What is the reality situation? 5 swords. Why is 4 swords here? Queen of Wands, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, High Priestess in reverse, Pisces energy, 7 cups, 5 cups in reverse, and the Queen of Cups, and the Hangman, Pisces, and Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. What is it with all these queens? So the queen that we're missing is the Queen of Swords. And what's interesting is the Queen of Swords is represented by this communication, this air element. Yeah, and that's what I said was missing, our authenticity, speaking our truth, being able to actually see things and speak things clearly and authentically is missing. And why it's missing is because we're too busy We're too busy in our own fantasy of the version of us in all other aspects. And that's the answer, you guys, okay? So you, which I do feel is coming up as a queen here, so most likely feminine energy, but it doesn't have to be. It's like maybe somebody who thinks they have to be perfect or like have this perfection about them. Like Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Cups, Queen of Wands. Like I have all my shit together, my business, my emotions, my world, my finances, all of this stuff. And I got to be and do and whatever. And it's like, we're not really seeing that we're creating a 5 swords in our situation, because the 5 swords is being created by us not just engaging in the current situation in an authentic way to intake what is happening in the present moment and then communicate authentically, because this present moment has nothing to do with what any other attribute about you. It's not adding to this current situation. It doesn't require anything from you except for understanding it authentically and engaging authentically with communication. And I don't think that you engage in this situation authentically. I think you engage in this situation by attaching more to versions of you that you think need to be engaged in the situation. And it creates a lot of confusion. And I do feel like there might be a thing that's really stemmed to our confidence, like our self-confidence, our self-worth. Only when we truly have an issue with self-worth do we have the narrative that we have to be or do or look a certain way and upkeep that facade or upkeep those images or stick to that narrative. So Spirit is really asking you to look into your own self-worth and how you're attached to your own self-confidence, because your own self-confidence right now is really tied to a material version of you that doesn't exist already. It needs to be torn away. It doesn't exist. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter if you own your own business. It doesn't matter how many jobs you have. It doesn't matter how smart, intelligent you are. It doesn't matter if you're overgiving, if you're loving, if you feed the poor every 2 seconds. I mean, yes, please go help those less fortunate, but that doesn't make you who you are at all. This situation requires you to be completely authentically yourself, meaning not yourself of what you are in the matrix, but what comes out of you in the present moment. And we don't know what that version of you is because this present moment has never happened. So whatever this present moment is going to reveal of you is what it requires, because the present moment you're engaged with now is actually very manufactured to interject the old version of you or the version of you that you want to be seen. Because if it's not, then you feel like it's not going to see you in the way that you want it to, and that it somehow is going to see you in a way that is going to make you feel less confident about yourself or incapable or not as worthy or, and it's like, I want to have control. And it's like an illusion. You don't have control to how your present moment sees you. Your present moment's going to see you how they see you. And so there's a need for you just to show up authentically in the present moment, not for you to manufacture anything here. Okay. I do feel like there was a disappointment with the 5 cups and the 5 swords, like that we already experienced as a result of this, but I don't know. Let's see, Spirit. Why do we see 5 swords and 5 cups? What is the reality of the situation? I know what it's asking you to do, but can we see a little deeper? What am I missing here for pile number 2? What am I missing? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 2. What am I missing here in the reality of this situation? 7 cups again. The Hierophant. Taurus energy. What is the reality of this situation for pile number 2? The Queen of Wands in reverse. Yeah. King of Cups in reverse. 7 cups. Why is this 7 cups here, Spirit? The Wheel of Fortune. Why is the Queen of Wands here? The Knight of Swords and the Emperor in reverse. Okay. You guys hear that big beautiful plain outside. Why is this King of Cups here? Page of Pentacles in reverse and the Hangman, Pisces, Hangman showing up again, and the Knight of Cups. Under the Knight of Cups is the Two Wands. So we have Taurus, we have Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, we have Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Aries, Pisces. This is very specific. Put it into context, because I do think it's relevant to all of you guys, but it's going to be relevant to your situation, how you see it. But I'm seeing it coming through one way. I'm seeing it coming through a romantic relationship, okay? But it doesn't have to be necessarily. I feel like we're experiencing someone being emotionally unavailable here. Isn't choosing to show emotions or show up emotions in some way of what we've experienced here. I feel like there's some sort of cycle and there's some sort of karmic lesson, if you will, some sort of unfolding here. And what's this unfolding? It's unfolding a truth to us to engage in the present moment, to really take a look at our own stories of what we think self-worth is about and how we think exactly all the things that I mentioned, because I feel like we have a skewed way of knowing what means I'm of value and what means I'm not. And those are all stories. None of those are actually true. Somebody could really never find you of value ever, no matter how valuable you might think you are. And someone might find you very valuable when you're not thinking you're valuable at all. It doesn't matter what you think or believe. It's not going to change a situation. Somebody is emotionally unavailable here, incapable of showing emotions or choosing this connection or showing up. And you're stuck in this sort of thing because I feel you want them to commit, or you want some form of clarity, okay, or some form of understanding. And I think I don't know why I say I think what Spirit is really showing here is the lesson here is a big one. It's a doozy here. A lesson, a doozy, and it's helping you get out of any form of confusion that you might be stuck with someone who might not be prioritizing choosing you or choosing someone else or keeping things blurry or whatever is happening that seems out of your control. And it kind of is, because that person is never under your control. Situations are never under your control. Nothing is ever under your control. It's all an illusion, no matter how good, smart, intelligent, beautiful you are. Never under your control. We already know this. So there's nothing you can do or be or say that's going to change this situation or circumstance ever. And Spirit's saying this is what you're learning, because your value of how you see yourself or your self-worth, it never has anything to do with this person or this situation, because somebody isn't showing up here. And it's not that they're not showing up here because they're not seeing your value. And so now you got to be even more valuable, or you got to do more things. No, they're not seeing your value because they're not in the position to do this. And so we might see an opportunity here, and we really want to engage, or we really want to convince, or we really want some clarity. We really want someone to take action. We really want, and it's like Spirit saying, no, it doesn't matter what you want. The reality of the situation is you got to start seeing things differently and fall in love with reality. Reality says right now this person's emotionally unavailable, period. Not if you do this and if you do that and if you show up this way and that way. No, that's just, no. You're seeing yourself as not being valuable, or it's having a blow in your confidence, or it's making you feel a certain way. And it's like, it's okay if you feel that way, but know that it's not reality, that you're only feeling that way because you have a belief that if they don't choose you, then that must mean you're not valuable. Or if they don't choose you, then that must mean this, and it must mean that, and it must mean no. It must mean I must do more. It must mean I didn't do this, and it must mean no. It doesn't mean any of that. That's all stories. So now all of a sudden we feel like we're not worthy, or we feel like we're not being shown our value. And it's like, nobody is going to show you value. Everyone's a value, period. But everyone is engaged in the present moment as they are, however they come out. And that's what this requires you to do. Be you in the present moment so that you can speak authentically. The Queen of Swords here is missing. And the Queen of Swords doesn't waffle in regards to anything. She sees clearly, she makes her own certainty, and she understands very, very clearly, and she speaks her truth. And it's not her truth as in, you didn't choose me, I need to be valued, come correctly. No, that's not a truth. That's our own perception of truth. The truth is, I'm in this present moment, seeing exactly what's happening, somebody not being emotionally available, and so I speak my truth in this moment. in this opening of what that it means to me. I make my own clarity here. That's seeing it different from a different perspective. Okay, and I feel right now we're not empowered to do that. And we're not empowered to speak our truth and confront the truth. And we might have went back to, I don't know, the drawing board to work on ourselves or to lick our wounds or to talk to ourselves why we're not confident enough or good enough or valued enough and try to figure it out. And there's nothing to figure out there. That just creates more confusion. More thought creates more confusion because this isn't a thoughts thing. This is just being authentic in the present moment that creates clarity. This isn't something that's going to reveal itself to you when you sit there in contemplation. Okay, this is a lesson that we learn through an experience that reveals back to us that somebody is just somebody, regardless of who we are. Period. That's reality. There is no need to attach any story to it. There is no need to attach our own value to it. And the only reason we'd be very disappointed and experience suffering is if we're really attached to a desire and outcome. But I really wanted that. I really needed that. No, do you? If you really think you do, then you're attached to an outcome. And why are you attached to an outcome? Because you feel like you're not whole and complete in this present moment. And if you feel that way, that's fine. You're feeling that. But that's what we need to self-inquire then. We feel like there's something missing, that there's something that's going to add value to us. And so how is this person who's emotionally unavailable going to add more value to you? How? They're not. But we can engage in the present moment, completely aware, completely authentic, without any sort of past energy. That's it. That's all it requires you to do. Then there's no more confusion. All right. So this is your reading, pile number 2. I hope this helped you. We'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye. Hello, beautiful. Pile number 3. You guys picked the Dante Tarot, and we're looking at your current situation, circumstance, and how you're perceiving it versus the reality of what's actually going on. How you might be seeing it might not actually be what the objective truth is in regards to reality. So let's see, Spirit, pile number 3. How are they currently seeing or experiencing their existing situation or circumstance? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good. So pile 3 can understand whether this is their pile in regards to their current situation, circumstance. How are they perceiving their reality of what is going on in their world right here, right now, spirits? I will be using this deck, which I didn't mention at the beginning, in case you guys are wondering. Wonder no more. So for pile number 3, spirits, what's their perceived reality of what they're currently experiencing in the situation or circumstance that is being brought up here? For pile number 3, how are they currently seeing or experiencing their situation or circumstance? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 3. Thank you so much, Spirit. We're so blessed. And thank you so much, pile number 3, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. How are you currently perceiving your circumstance, situation at this time? Okay. Take a look. Do I have all of them? I guess so. Okay, we have body as a house, 71, or the number 8. Interesting. Ring around the moon with protection. Oh my goodness. Body as a house, protection. Wow, I'm almost getting emotional here. We got compartmentation, 32, or the number 5, defense mechanism, fragmentation, isolation, division, cleavage, lowering, separation. Type 5, the observer, thinking center between interior and exterior. Okay, I feel you're removed from something. You might have one understanding why you're removed, but there's a greater purpose. Let's see, Mercury and Saturn, 24, or the number 6. Mercury is a ruling planet for Virgo, Gemini. Saturn is the ruling planet for Capricorn, Aquarius. Okie dokie. And we have number 5, Sun in Jupiter. 5, 5. 5 is all about conflict, loss, change, and rebuild. 5 could be temperance energy, which I'm picking up here, reduced in the tarot, which is all about healing and about being in the right energy here to alchemize with something, someone, or situation or circumstance. Sun is Leo, and Jupiter is the ruling planet for Sagittarius, Pisces. And we have South Node, Life's Debts, 42, or the number 6. So now we have 2 6s. 6 is all about problem solving, compassion, harmony. It's also Lovers, which is Gemini, and Devil, Capricorn energy, picking up again. It's our South Node, Life's Debts, past karmas, past contracts, throat chakra, number 5. So now we got 555. So 55 is a master number. Change is the only constant, divinely orchestrated change. It says the frequency of throat chakra, the blue flower of life, supports our self-expression and our sense of peace and balance. And I was really picking that up from the temperance energy, peace and balance. Or was it this one? I don't know. Wherever I was picking up temperance energy. Yeah, from the 5s. Temperance. Temperance, okay. And we have Tantric Journey, 42, or the number 6. So we got another 6, 666, and 555. Wow, very synchronistic here, pile number 3. So it says the frequency of Tantric Journey helps us unlock the hidden knowledge and wisdom that we intrinsically hold about how to reach a state of wholeness and completion through our sensual experiences with ourselves and with another. Wholeness and completion. Oh my goodness, what is going on here? I'm confused. Let's take a look. Mercury, Saturn. Mercury, Saturn. It says conjunct sextile trine and primitive. Cruel, rigid thinking and speaking right by the throat chakra lead you to separation, which is right here. Righteousness and arrogance, adaptive, commanding, authoritative, and temperate speech and thinking create possibilities for others to learn and grow. Evolving, you exemplify inspired leadership in your writing, thinking, and speaking. Others are wowed by your capacity for laser-like, impeccable communication. In conjunct opposition square, primitive, you dwell in causic, chastising mean language and ideologies. Adaptive, your speech and thinking are mature and reasoned. Oh my goodness, reasoned. Evolving, focused, incisive, clear speech and thinking on your part leads to others wants to be more disciplined in their communications. It's a whole bunch of lessons for me right there. Thank you, Spirit. Number 5. Sun, Jupiter, conjunct sextile trine, primitive. You insist that others bow before you because you are the Sun King, requiring constant, grandiose admiration. You demand that others worship your every move. Adaptive, your largest grass, I don't know how to read that, of talent and good luck nourishes the betterment of the world. Your greatest gift is your ability to be generous with all your gifts. Evolving, benevolence and humility emanate from your being. Your lighthouse is so bright that all find shelter in your wisdom and manifestation of good in the world. In conjunct opposition square, primitive. You can't imagine your surges of energy and inspiration. You can't manage. I don't know what I said. You can't manage your surges of energy and inspiration. You feel entitled to worship and wrestle with delusions of grandeur. Adaptive. You become adept at showing up larger than life without intimidating or overwhelming others. Wisdom and knowledge emanate from the core of your being. Evolving, you are a personification of hope, optimism, and joy. Your positivity is contagious. Okie dokie. Beautiful people. Let me sit with this energy so I can channel what this is. I am being called to this one too. Sorry. This pile is creating all sorts of questions more than answers to me. So it says the body is house. This card represents an eerie connection. Okay, I think it means an eerie connection between body and spirit. It's almost as if you can see your spirit through your veins move out into the cosmos. The card functions as the companion to card number 56, body. Despite this world lacking in space for healthy perceptions of our bodies, you have been able to tune it out for now. You are in a place where the health of your spirit and health of your body are running parallel. This is balance. This is all of it. And this is wholeness. Look at this wholeness coming out, this temperance. You guys, I'm getting goosebumps, but it's kind of hard for me to be objective here, I feel, because I don't know how much of this message is coming through for me, but I will channel. Spirit, help me to remove any of my biases here so I can channel this message clear and concise for the viewer. Thank you so much. Okay, beautiful angel. Spirit is talking about coming into balance. I think this is all about coming into harmony, union, body, mind, spirit. Okay, with this compartmentation, it's a lot of times when we're thrown off balance, we have parts of us that aren't quite congruent or marching in the same rhythm as other parts of us. And it creates all sorts of imbalances. And sometimes we spend a whole portion of our life where we have these imbalances where we don't experience the spiritual world at all, or we're more in the material, or our mind is not congruent with what the heart wants, or vice versa, and a mixture of all of this. Okay, so I feel like we are coming into this balance, this wholeness, this energy of alchemization. And I don't feel like it's always a pleasant experience. And I do feel like this is maybe at times not even feeling like it feels good, because we have a lot of fives, and five, like I say, is all about this change and this rebuild. And so there's nothing sort of stable about five. Five could feel like very destabilizing. Okay, and so there is a message here. Spirit is talking about protection, okay, because you are protected. There is nothing really here that's going to throw you off, no matter how destabilized you are. But I feel like what you're experiencing right now is a lot of putting all the pieces together. And I feel like although us in this present moment have nothing really to do with the past, I feel like the past is coming through here very strongly, because it's almost like this point of judgment, revelation, that everything we've experienced and accumulated in our passing is sort of coming to this point. And it's a part of, and I'm talking like even past life, like our energy body. It's coming to a point of accumulation here, because the experiences that we've, like all the lives we've lived, all the spiritual growth we've had, all the ascension and all of this stuff is leading to a point of harmony and balance, in which we're at a pivotal point here where there is this authentic expression that's having to be delivered. Okay, now I say having to, it's just a natural organic point in which authentic expression comes from a point of experience, when we're certainly at a certain point within our spiritual journey, or a certain point within all of our experience, we come to the point in which this alchemization has happened. And I feel like we might still feel very upside down. And I feel like we feel very removed. And I do feel like we feel separated and segregated. And I do feel like we feel, I feel there's a mixture of energy for all of us, But I do feel like whatever we are feeling is actually the opposite of what's happening. And that's what we'll see with the back end of what's actually happening. But it's like there's a lot of because I don't feel like we've experienced this before, so there's nothing to compare it to. And it's like, as we come into wholeness, as we come into this point where we've never experienced, it's like unlocking this hidden knowledge and this wisdom in order for us to reach this like state of wholeness or union within self. Now, in no means am I saying this is the end of the road, but this is like a point of balance here that hasn't been experienced. And we might completely lose sight and get so discombobulated that we feel like we're back at where we started. Like almost like everything we've ever experienced has no impact, no bearing, was all sort of a waste here. What was it all for? But I'm not taking this as like a negative thing. I'm almost taking it as this is how we're seeing it, you know? Like everything was it just a mirage? Like there's nothing here to hang on to. Everything sort of was experienced in a isolated incident that has nothing to do with me here now, which is kind of true when it comes to this reality in this present moment. But at the same time, it's also untrue, because your spirit does have growth, and your spirit did go through ascension, and your spirit does have a certain level of conscious awareness. And so the spirit goes through evolution. Energy evolves and changes. And so even though that is a story unto itself, we can't deny or suppress an experience here of consciousness that has been expanded based on spiritual knowledge and experience, based on certain experiences. And so I do feel like we're coming to this point of balance and peace, but we're feeling the complete opposite. And so it's like, why do I feel so separate? Why do I feel so lost? Why do I feel so isolated? Why do I feel like all of those parts of me are actually not coming together? Like they feel like they're all divided. And some of you guys might even feel very disconnected from spirit. And maybe that hasn't always been the case. It's like, I don't even connect there anymore. And we might be more, you know, like seeing this physical body as it's engaged, but it's like, it could be depressing, because it's like, are we just this like experience? But at the same time, yes, we are having this experience, but we're not the body itself. And so this could be very discombobulating. And so I do feel like with this life's debts, I think we went through something quite significant here that was needing to sort of unfold, however long it has taken or is taking, in order for us to come to this point of wholeness or harmony or like balance that is still happening. Because I don't think you feel balanced, and I don't think you feel like you're put together, because I do feel like you feel like you're building. So I don't know. It's not very clear to me, aside from this, what it's trying to tell us here, you guys. So let's peel it back, because there's definitely going to be more here in regards to now what the reality then of your situation is. Because if we feel however we feel, then we're seeing something in a certain way that might not necessarily be the reality of the situation. But I feel as you see it, it's like what you see in front of you is what you're seeing. Like there's nothing to add to it, or else it'll just be a story, right? So it makes sense to me. Let's see, Spirit, what is it then that pile 3 is not seeing? What is the objective truth then about their situation? Clear and concise message for pile 3. What is the objective truth then for pile 3? What is the objective truth of their situation? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good. What is the truth of their situation then? What is actually the reality with a capital R? No, this is the tarot, which we'll use shortly. What is the reality of the situation for pile 3 spirits? That pile 3 is needing to understand or see differently. Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 3. What is the reality? And finally, last card for pile 3 spirits. What is the reality of the situation that pile 3 is needing to see differently? Okie dokie. Moon called, meant to be. Okay. Scholar, 88. 88's a master number. A higher calling that is grounded in self-awareness and reverence for life. Wow, scholar, deep knowledge, visionary, realism, erudition, specialist, and concentration. 7-5. Type 7. The enthusiast, thinking center between pleasure and pain. Integration, growth level. Oh my gosh, integrating growth. This is pretty powerful, you guys. Tantric journey again. Oh, you're definitely on a journey of coming into wholeness here. The frequency of tantric journey helps us unlock the hidden knowledge and wisdom that we intrinsically hold about how to reach a state of wholeness and completion through our sensual experiences with ourselves and with another. My goodness. Capricorn, I use 22. 22 is about healthy, energetic boundaries, divinely guided relationships, peacemaker, and diplomacy. Okay, Uranus, Pluto. So we have Aquarius, Scorpio, 61, or the number 7 coming through again. 7 is faith, wisdom, reflection, and understanding. Uranus and Pluto, wow. And we have Mercury, Uranus. So heavy Uranus. Uranus is the great awakener. So that's like tower energy, judgment energy. Mercury is ruling planet for Virgo and Gemini. 26, or the number 8. And we have throat chakra coming out again. Did it not come out for you guys, or am I dreaming? I'm like totally in some weird world. Okay, the frequency of throat chakra, the blue flower of life, supports our self-expression and our sense of peace and balance. Yeah, what you guys are experiencing is real, man. What do you have? The scrying mirror, 65, or number 11. 77. Trust the fall, an adventure that arises from deep wisdom, trust of life, and trust of self. Disintegration. Oh my goodness. Integration, disintegration. Yin yang. Pleasure abuse. Illusory thoughts. Loss of fame. Scattering. Addictions. Loss of logic. Irrational mind. It's total opposite of this. Type 5, the observer, thinking center between interior and exterior. Okie dokie. Spirit's really testing me here with this. Let me see what's going on here. 61. What is this about? Uranus, Pluto, primitive. You're a personal wrecking ball. Adaptive, you show that true moral courage is on a daily basis. Evolving, you are the one who lays down your self-interest and risks your life to uplift the masses. In conjunct opposition square, primitive, you spike the punch with revenge. Adaptive, you undo corruption and demonstrate entirely new ways to solve old problems. Evolving, you are a powerhouse of community love who shows people how to awaken their hearts amidst suffering. Okie dokie. 26. In conjunct opposition trine. Conjunct sextile trine. Primitive, you have a habit of speaking ridiculous, impractical gibberish that alienates others. Adaptive, you are an extraordinarily original thinker, writer, speaker. You engender new ideas and invite collaboration. Evolving, you are part of moments in history where pure genius is expressed. Your communication helps to further the process of human evolution. In conjunct opposition square primitive, your specialty, rebellious speech that causes others to feel uncomfortable and uncared for. Adaptive, your brilliant offerings allow others to feel their own brilliance through communication. Evolving, you are incredibly adept at describing what's possible. A new evolutionary stage seems just on the horizon to all who hear you. Well, I gotta say, I really resonate with this pile, but I don't know if Spirit's delivering me a message, which doesn't always come through very often like this, but what's going on? I'm seeing the temperance here, you guys. This is all about you, what's meant to be here in your tantric journey of wholeness. And it is experienced through your engagement within and without, with community of people and with yourself, with others and with yourself. This is all about what you're experiencing is all a part of the bigger picture of the whole. And sometimes we might feel completely detached and completely going the opposite way, only to find that we're still moving forward. There is some collective expression that you are sharing, bestowing upon the collective here, that is actually having a very profound impact. And it's not one here that is going to make you feel in any sort of way, because then that would be egoic. And it's also one here in which we can't necessarily get attached to, but at the same time, it's one of deep spiritual knowledge and one of deep, I feel like it's very moving here. And it's moving because I do feel like it can't even be expressed into words. This is you through a means in which most people can't just access like this. Okay, most people can't read tarot. Most people can't read crystal ball. Most people can't do a certain thing. Now, that doesn't mean they can't do it. That just means the populace of the collective can't do whatever you're doing. There is some access you have to spiritual knowledge, some access you have to the ethereal, Akashic records, some form of intelligence that's coming through, be it divine, be it aliens, I don't know, but you have connection. And you're bringing this down and communicating and delivering. And this information is knowledge that is being fed to the collective to allow there to be progress. But I feel like what you're not seeing potentially is you doing it. And I know that sounds really like simple here, but I feel like, I don't know if maybe we're thinking there needs to be more, or we need to understand something. It's like Spirit is really showing, like, look at this 8877, well, it's 7788. It's in like sequence here, but it's two master numbers. It's like you trusting the process and flowing with when it's up and down is the process. And so when you're discombobulated, meaning detached from spirit for whatever reason, that's all part of the wholeness, because the wholeness isn't always being on, and the wholeness isn't always being, removed and detached. It's like you are flowing with the ups and downs, the ins and outs, connecting to the divine when you're sort of being called upon to transmit communication, to funnel, channel, however you want to call it, because this is really about channeling and transmitting energy via communication to the collective. And the only way to sort of do this thing, doesn't mean to be a martyr, means that we have to sort of integrate ourselves in a way. And because we are we are perfect, but we're also not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're made in the light of God, but we come with our own imperfections. So it's like we have to adapt with what it is. And what it is not always about being on, being complete, being in the know. Sometimes that comes with the loss. Sometimes that comes with getting in the mind. Sometimes that comes with going astray for whatever periods of time. Like, that's all okay, and that's all part of this experience. Because I do feel like you have a calling here, and I do feel it is very intertwined with collective transmitting of information and knowledge, and it does allow for there to be healing and evolution and expansion and growth in the collective based on your interaction. Now, again, everyone interacts in the collective and they all have a purpose here. So this isn't anything egoic. This is talking about your purpose of where it comes from, because where it comes from is something unworldly here, where it's really tapping into another dimension of information that's being transmitted to you in order for you to deliver. But you have to be in a state of balance or reach a certain point within that journey in order to be called upon or to be ready for or to flow in that state. And you have been in the state, and I don't think you see it or understand that you have been, because the state also, like I said, will seem like you're on or off, and that is part of the state. Will seem like maybe you are not in the state. That's part of it. And sometimes you have clear knowledge of downloads, and that's part of it. And sometimes we're disconnected completely, which is part of it. So it's all part of it. And so I do feel like maybe we've been very committed and devoted to this calling, or to this balancing, this energy that I feel that you've been on for some time. And Spirit is really saying that you're already outputting and contributing already. And maybe you don't see it that you've done anything, or that it's been impactful, or that you're whole yet. Maybe you're still thinking you're on some train and you're going to get somewhere, or at some point you're going to hit a milestone that's like, okay, now I'm the guru, or now I'm in the know, or now I'm learnt, And it's Spirit saying, no, you're already learnt. You're already there. And when you're feeling not there, guess what? You're still there. And when you're irrational and feeling out of balance, you're there. You're already there, because Spirit is acknowledging that you have times of deep knowing, and you are a channel here that is capable of delivering, because you are reaching a state spiritually here and in wholeness that allows there for this hidden knowledge to come through you as a chosen state for this venue or this vehicle of delivery. I'm not saying you're the chosen one by any means. In fact, I don't even like that language, because I feel everyone is chosen to do something. Whatever the thing you're chosen to do here. Okay, but that doesn't mean you're chosen to do this, therefore that's the only thing you do. Because I do feel like you're chosen to do this, and then in order to do this, you have to integrate the other parts of your human self, because I feel like what you're doing here is not really human. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it is, but it's not, because I mean, like, I'm going to use tarot reading, for example, here, okay? I mean, there's a slew of them on the internet. So it's nothing like, super, super, super rare. But at the same time, it's like what I'm channeling here is like unique to what I'm channeling here. Like, this is nothing to do with anyone. Like, this is a channel direct from some hidden knowledge information that's coming out to the collective that can't really be reproduced, really. There could be different channels of different information and different sort of pockets and different things, and aside from tarot readers, there's also different forms of everything. Like, but this is scrying mirror, so it's really about the divination. This is really about accessing this hidden knowledge and seeing it and being able to have the eyes to see it, or the clear channel to transmute it, or the availability to deliver it. It's like all things aligned, and they aligned because there was a union balance within self that was able to reach a state of this. And so I do feel like there's so many different moving parts with this whole thing, because it's about us and it's about other. And it might have to have been learned through a series of experiences, you know? Well, yeah, you do know, because you're still here in this pile. This is really intense. Spirit, help me deliver this message. Clear and concise message. What is it that pile 3 needs to know then about what is really going on here in this situation? I don't think you understand your impact here. So we have the moon, Cancer, Pisces. It's all about the hidden knowledge, you guys. Ace of Wands in the reverse. The Fool in the reverse, Aquarius. And the King of Swords. Yeah, like the Aquarius energy and this hidden knowledge. It's like a very different piece of information you're tapped into, like not your ordinary. Why is the moon here, Spirit? And the sun. You guys, masculine, feminine. What did I say about like the temperance and the balance? We have to have a balance of the masculine, feminine in order to come into some form of union, balance within self, so that we can tap into some form of unique or different or outside the box knowledge that's like really occult-like or different in some way, but make it known or understood, because the mind can't really comprehend this type of knowledge. Ooh, this came flying at me. There's the Devil, Capricorn energy coming out again with views, and 7 Pentacles in reverse, and 6 Wands, and 2 Wands. Okay. This is so specific, you guys. I don't know if you guys are here with this. This is totally something I'm totally seeing as a message for me as well. So I'm picking up whatever Spirit's talking about here, because I feel like there is something about how we're feeling that is saying, I'm not, like, is it worth the squeeze? You know, is the juice worth the squeeze? It's like, do I stop what I'm investing or doing here? There's a belief that I feel is not really healthy, because it is feeling like we're stuck to the earthly plane, or we have the same earthly challenges as everyone else. So why would I be able to deliver this piece of information? I'm not anything different here. Especially what makes it more of a belief is when we experience detachment, when we experience being not connected to the divine, when the channeling disappears, or the downloads don't come, or the mind fog comes in, and when we don't feel balanced, and when we feel disconnected from one of our, you know, masculine or feminine sides, and it's like, I don't feel like I'm inspired to do this. I don't feel like I'm the one here, like, to do this, you know? And I feel like Spirit's really talking about you being seen, like you being in the public eye, like you being one that is delivering this thing to people, like being acknowledged, being seen, being like, there is no one doing that in what you're doing. You're delivering this thing. Just because you might feel disconnected, or you might have a belief that ties you to what is normal to suffering, or normal to others who don't do this doesn't mean that you're not capable of doing this, or that you're not making an impact, or that you should stop what it is that you're doing here. Because I feel like you might be contemplating, either should I pursue this, or why do I continue pursuing this, or what's the point of pursuing this? Especially when you're experiencing the lulls or the disconnect or the challenge, then it's like, well, who was I kidding? I'm not downloading anything. I'm not transmitting any new information. I'm not connected to any source out there. I'm not. You know, and it's like, why do we say we're not? Is because the reality of what we're experiencing there is the lull or the disconnect. And for some of us, it feels here with loss of fame in the Six Wands, which is about some form of fame or being seen in the limelight. It could be like, I would lose myself, or I would, like, it's almost like imposter syndrome here. I could gain and then lose it, or I don't know. There's something here like Nine Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, like I'll lose confidence quickly, or I can't sustain it, or I'm not independent enough to, or confident enough to be the one to do this, to deliver this. Let's see. Are we just needing confirmation here in regards to following this mission? You know, because let me tell you, like, again, not to bring this to myself, but there's been so many times where I'm just like, that's it. Like, I've already delivered all the messages that I wanted to on my channel, but it's like, I just keep getting pulled into this thing, you know, and then I get messages of people who are like really blessed by the information that Spirit's delivering. And it's like, makes me feel worthy of continuing on. But then I go back to my world and I'm just thinking like, I don't know that I want to keep doing this. And it's not that I don't enjoy it, but it's like, it almost seems like useless, or I'm disconnected from it. Like, I can't do it anymore. You know, I can't channel anymore. I can't read anymore. Like, there's just a point in time where I was able to do it and I can't no more, or something like this. I don't know if that adds to your situation, but let's see, Spirit, what are we communicating here in regards to pile number 3 and the reality of this situation? There's that Six Wands again. So in the public eye, having victory, being successful. There's the Empress. So she's fully balanced. She's all the queens in one. Knows her self-worth. Is abundance. Is able to give and receive love. 3 Cups in reverse. So this is the network of people, and this could be being isolated. Look at the 2 again. Completely immersed and then completely removed. Deep knowledge, illusory thoughts. Visionary, losing the visions. Irrational mind. Realism, like integration, disintegration. Okay. Page of Wands. Why is the Empress here? So we have Taurus, Libra. 3 Swords. I'm not surprised to see 3 Swords. And the Moon in reverse, Cancer, Pisces. Moon in reverse, clarifying the 3 Cups. And the Wheel of Fortune. And the Knight of Wands in reverse. Okay. Some of you guys haven't taken the move yet, and some of you guys are like, should I keep engaging? Okay. It's totally normal to question. Okay, definitely. But Spirit is talking about this being your divine destined path here. You're being guided. You're on a journey here, and your guidance is destined, whatever it is that you're doing or engaged with in the public eye or being visible. The thing that you do is visible here. Even when you feel out of sync, Spirit is talking about your value being unshakable. It's not driven by when you have dips. It's consistently remains you being of value, being worthy of giving and receiving energy and flow and love and abundance, despite blips and blops. Even if you go through a week of feeling low or out or disconnected, it doesn't matter. It doesn't diminish your value. And if you are feeling completely isolated and disconnected from the public or collective or being seen, it's part of the process, because this is the balance that this journey would require, that we go through both. And it's understanding that both are a part of the whole. And I feel like we might be really sort of experiencing sadness, because we might have had an idea or an understanding that to be empress is to be always appreciated, or to be always seen, or to be always welcomed, or to be always successful. And that's not true. To be empress is to experience fear and solitude and feel left out, but to still not engage with feeling like they're separated, or like there's a loss in any means, because there is no real loss here. And so I do feel like Spirit really wants you to not see things from that sort of perspective when you are experiencing a detachment from your community or your collective, or when you are not celebrating, when things are quiet, when things seem like they're not going well, or when you seem like you're not being included or welcomed or seen. It doesn't mean anything. So this could even mean like when I don't have subscribers, that means I suck, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that could be a thought. And then it's like, oh, we continue to sort of feel discouraged, or like, what am I doing this for? Or like, yeah, like if you go, like even take a look at all my videos, like there's tons and tons and tons. Like it didn't really matter to me. I was doing something that I felt called to do. But at a certain point, I did sit there and I was thinking like, okay, I think I'm done, because it's not really doing much of anything except for just me outputting this information. But Spirit kept pulling me back into this world, and then it just sort of like clicks in a way sometimes where I'm like, okay, like I get, like actually feeling like it's worthy of doing this channeling. And then other times I just like so disconnected and I talk myself out of it again. Like, I don't know what I was thinking, So I'm sure you guys experience the same thing, but this is part of it. But it shouldn't make us feel less than, or like we're unworthy of being accepted, or that our value in doing that thing is anything less or anything more at certain times. It is always of the same value, despite whether it's being seen, welcomed, or acknowledged. It doesn't have any more weight or any less weight. That's what Spirit wants you to know. And so to remain knowing that it's all about ups and downs, and staying centered and grounded, and knowing we're still capable of being open to receive and give without getting pulled into feeling, saddened or disappointed or left out or depressed or that sort of thing. Like keep your passion on it. Like keep your youthful energy of exploring it. As long as you're always exploring it from a place of passion and exploration, it's a value. It's not about the result of it or who came out for it or who said what for it. It's like you explored it, and that's what it's there for, you exploring it. Everything else will sort of come as it comes with ups and downs. But it shouldn't stop you. It shouldn't deter you. It should allow you to move towards what this is. Again, for all of you guys, it's different. And I hope this made sense for you guys. Okay, beautiful people. This is your reading. I think you have a huge impact here on a collective of people who I do feel value very much. And if you don't feel included or seen or welcomed at certain times, it's part of this process. Okay, so I'm going to give you a big hug. Beautiful pile number 3. I love you very much. Thank you so much for your involvement, whatever it is you are doing, because I do feel it is very different. And it does take a lot of courage, and it does take a lot of maintaining your energy balance to do that, Because when we hit rock bottom, or we sort of go the polar opposite way, when we've reached another state, it's like we know what the good is, or the good. To experience the other side of that is like even more polarizing, So we're on polarizing ends, which impact us more. We sway. We have a wider swath of the pendulum, and it could really take a toll on us, Because if our scope is this small, then the pendulum doesn't go very far. But when the scope of consciousness or the scope of where we go wandering off to is in one dimension, and then we come back sort of to the human dimension, if you will, it's like this swinging pendulum that's like really vast, and it could really take its toll. Okay, but remember, that toll is just some mind story where spirit is saying you are still whole, you are still this beautiful empress. There is no devaluing, there is no low time where you're less than. You're always the empress, despite where this pendulum is. It might feel heavy, it might feel like it's lower or less than, or you're not seen or approved, but that's just a figment of what you're feeling and not necessarily true. And to notice when you're in that, don't stay in that. Get yourself out of moonlight. There is no reason to start having beliefs that, oh, maybe I'm not seen, maybe I'm not worthy, maybe I don't do well at this, maybe I'm not a reader, channeler, or a producer of this type of thing, or I'm communicating anything of value. It's just gibberish or meaningless, No, 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 no. And you are protected. And we did see the protected card with this deck. And look, she has this shield. So you might be, afraid to be seen by certain people or judged or picked apart or criticized, like, especially, tarot readers, like maybe in this day and age, not as bad, but there's still a lot of stigma around that, or even stigma around what I'm talking about, which is like non-duality, Christ consciousness, and that sort of thing. That isn't necessarily everyone's belief, and it could even go beyond a belief. When we're just talking about like dropping all beliefs, dropping all of the constructs. There's a lot of like beliefs that people have that feel threatened. And so Spirit's talking about you being protected by your own connection to the divine that allows you to do this successfully, regardless of what you're experiencing or seeing going on out there, okay? And you're highly loved, beautiful angel. Thank you so much. I hope this made sense to you, and I will see you at the next one. Bye-bye.